Hey everyone, I've been reading everyone's race reports and they're great. It's awesome to be able to see everybody's different perspective on the race and the weekend and what they thought. I love it. I, however, am too lazy to write a long race report, so I'm going to do a video one where it's much easier. I can just click a button and sit here and talk. Um, so a couple things. Last year I went and I didn't make it. I failed. So this year I signed back up. Going to go back out there. Did it through Smile Train, which is awesome, and I think a big part of why I was successful this year. But I decided I'm going to do everything different. I'm going to do everything the opposite of the way I did last year. Last year I drove to Arizona. I took my bike. This year I flew. Had tri-bike transport it. The way I packed last year was very meticulous about having everything in its place beforehand and everything. This year, honestly, I packed like 2 days before, maybe the day before. The one thing I didn't change though is I had a very detailed plan, which is odd because I'm not a planner. I'm not usually, except when it comes to races, and it is like to the minute detailed. It's huge. It's important. So let me just say, before the race, getting down there, checking in, that was all awesome. Meeting up with Smile Train, the way that they accommodated my family and everything was great. But I just want to get into the race itself. So on race day morning, I woke up at 4:30, walked down there, and it wasn't that cold. And it's weird. I never really got that nervous. I think maybe nervous the day before, but not super nervous like last year because I kind of knew what to expect. So I got there about 4:30, set up my bike, made sure that the tires and everything were pumped up, filled up my water bottles, and then I walked over to the Smile Train tent with my family, made sure they all got situated, ate something, put on my wetsuit, and then walked back over just to check my bike one more time on the way down to the swim start. So they did the swim start a little different this year, where they did the rolling start instead of the mass start. And because I failed, I ran out of time on the run last year. My plan was I'm probably about an hour. Last year I did the swim in an hour and 50 minutes, long time. So my plan this year was to seed myself with the first group, the hour swimmers. I know it seemed like a good idea because I'm like, well, I need that extra time on the run. I started walking up there and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to seed myself with the hour and 20-minute people, which still is faster than I expected to do it. Got in line. The rolling start actually went very smooth. It went much smoother than I thought, and everybody got on the water really quickly. Got in the water. It took maybe 50 meters to get acclimated. It really wasn't that cold. It wasn't as cold as it was during the practice swim the day before. I think because it was colder outside. So 50 meters, and then I just started going with it. And I don't know how everybody else does it. I can only speak for me, but when I do, like I see the bridge and then I aim for the bridge, and then when I get to the bridge, I see the next buoy, and then that's my target, and I just go. You got to break it up into little chunks, otherwise you go nuts. So the one thing that I will notice that was huge this year, everybody was cutting all the buoys. Nobody was keeping any of the buoys to the left. Last year I swam like 2.69 miles, so I swam further. But this year everyone was cutting the buoys. So I started going, and I went to the inside of one buoy. Literally 90% of the people were cutting inside the buoys, and nobody was saying anything. So I tried to stay to the outside of the buoys. A couple of times I got pushed inside it. I just rolled with it and thought, okay, everybody else is doing it. I can't even get to the outside of the buoys without crashing into a bunch of people. I tried to stay as close to the buoys as possible. I thought my swim was going to be short. Got to the other end, turned around, came back. And one thing I'll tell you is that it seemed like with the rolling start, it was actually much more crowded than the mass start. I could never get free space. I could never get space around me. Where last year, with the mass start, there were spots where you could get space. Not this year. So last year also what I did on the swim, I got towards the end and I was just winded. I don't know if it's because it was so windy and choppy or what, but I was just winded, and I got to maybe 300 meters left, And I was going kayak to kayak. I stop at kayak, take a rest. Go to the next kayak, take a little rest. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. So this year, I got all the way through. Didn't happen, like I said, just aiming for the bridges, aiming for whatever. Got done, hopped out of the water, felt good. Looked at my watch, hour and 28 minutes. So I beat last year by 22 minutes. That's insane. And when I went back and looked at the numbers later, I actually swam 2.49 miles. So I swam less than I did last year, but I swam over the 2.4 miles, so it was all legit. Got out, found a wetsuit stripper. They ripped my wetsuit off. I can't really run on concrete barefoot because of my feet issues, so I don't even try. I just grab my wetsuit, roll it up, and then I walk all the way down around transition. Got my bag, went into the changing tent, and it was a disaster in there already. The first transition was a mess. So I said, forget it, I'm not going in there. I went to one of the chairs out back, sat down, put all my stuff on, and then headed right through the changing tent, out, got my bike, and then out on the bike. My hope was to beat my time on the bike. Since I beat my time on the swim, my hope was to beat my time on the bike last year and give myself enough time on the run that if I had any issues like I did last year, it wouldn't be a problem. I would get it done. My time last year on the bike was 7 hours and 30 minutes because of the wind. The wind was brutal last year. Headed out on the bike, was feeling good. I had my nutrition with me, everything dialed in. Got to probably the top of the turnaround to the beeline, and it started raining. It started raining. Hey.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought you were talking on the phone.
You're screwing up my race report. These people are expecting a good show, and you're messing it up.
I'm sorry.
No, you could stuff your sorries in a sack.
I'm sorry. I'll leave you be. I'm going downstairs to make Camille something to
Okay.
eat.
All right. Sorry about that. So anyway, it's about the top of the beeline, coming down. Got up there, was feeling good. Honestly, I was flying. I kept looking at my watch, and it's like 20 miles per hour, averaging 20. And I'm thinking, there's no way that's got to be wrong because I'm flying. Got up there, turned around, came down, and it started raining. And it started raining hard. But wasn't that big a deal yet. Got down, got back into the city, turned around, and it's awesome because you have those long stretches where on the beeline and stuff, there's people at the beginning, there's people in the middle, there's people at the top, and those long stretches in between are kind of the sections that you just use to get to the next group of people to be able to cheer you on. It actually does make a huge difference to have people cheering you on. So I get down into the city, see a lot of people that I know cheering for me, head back out, and I'm on the second loop, and it really starts to pour. I mean, it's pouring on the second loop. Unbelievably hard. Everyone that was there knows. I think there was some hail there too. Certainly some wind. Nothing windy like last year, but hail and rain. Got back down. This time coming back down, I tried to take it a little easier because I saw a couple people go down. I saw one person who fell pretty bad and it did not look good. So I got to the point where I was calculating my time and I knew I was going to beat my time from last year. I was trying to do 2 hours and 10 minutes on each loop up to the top and back. See, because I'm a big guy too, so when I get to the top of the hill, I turn around and I just fly down. It's really the only advantage I have is coming down that hill with everything behind me. So get down there, get done with the second loop, and working on the third loop, and it's raining really hard. So I get down and I turn off the beeline back into town, and I decided I'm 9 miles from home. I'm just gonna basically shut it down and take it really easy because it would suck to crash 9 miles from the end on my bike. And I saw a lot of people not a lot of people go down. I saw several people go down. It seemed very dangerous. The whole time I'm praying that it doesn't, there's no lightning, because I'm thinking will they cancel it or end it if they're lightning, which I imagine they probably would. So I didn't want lightning. Got down with the bike, felt great. So then into transition 2, and this was a disaster. The whole area was flooded. Where the bags were at was flooded. You couldn't walk anywhere because it was, well, you could walk everywhere. It was flooded, but my bag was sitting in a puddle of water, and I was worried that the top would be open and it would be full of water. Grabbed the bag, ran back, grabbed the bag, took it in the changing tent, and it was not full of water, thankfully. There was literally no room in the changing tent to sit down, so I just found a spot next to the table, got all my stuff out, changed socks. I had dry socks in there, put Vaseline on my feet, put the clean socks on, put the shoes on, put the belt on, visor on, was gone. And then I got out on the run. And my plan on the run, which is what I've been training with all year, because I have the tendonitis on both feet and I had the plantar fasciitis and I haven't been able to run very well, was to run 25, walk 25. Well, let me back up real quick. My time on the bike was 6:26, I think, something like that, 6:30. So at this point I had saved almost an hour, and then my transition times were much faster. So I was about an hour and a half ahead of where I was last year, and I gave myself plenty of time on the run. So my plan was to walk 25, run 25, walk 25, run 25 for the entire thing. I've done it in all my training. It works. I can sustain that pace, not a problem. But I came out, I don't know what happened, I just got caught up in it all, in the adrenaline, which happened. I came out of the changing tent, and I was hauling, I was flying. Ran like the first half mile in like 9-minute miles, which is not my speed. There's no way in the world I can sustain 9-minute miles. So I get about half mile out and I realize, what are you doing? Slow down, stop. So then I started walking, and this is the worst part of the day. The first loop is not bad. Get down to the end, turn around, come back. There's about a mile stretch maybe where it's muddy. It's a muddy mess that you have to be very careful going through. The last thing I wanted to do was roll my ankle on the marathon. So took it easy, came down past the... it's awesome when you come through there and you see all the spectators and everything cheering you on. There's no way to not get excited about that. So I was walking. I didn't even do my 25. I was just flat out walking. Fast. I was walking like 15-minute miles, and I figure at 15-minute miles, even if I walk the entire thing, I'm good to go. I'm going to finish this thing this year. And then I get to the Smile Train tent, and everyone's yelling and cheering. And I thought, I can't just walk by here, so I have to run by. So I ran by, got to the other side, did the loop, and I was trying to judge it also on the run by where it got dark last year compared to where it got dark this year. Last year, it got dark for me as soon as I crossed the river the first time and got to that first aid station. It was already dark. This year, I made it all the way down and back before it got dark, so I figure I'm way ahead of the game. Got back, was heading on to the second loop, coming through the area, and I see Camille. Camille and Amy were there. It was huge because by that time I was tired, not feeling well. At no point did I think about quitting, certainly, but I saw them and it was a huge boost. I saw Earl, which was huge, crossing the bridge, talked to him. And then I had my spot that I had marked at mile 14 and a half. Marked it the day before with chalk. It's the spot that I DNF'd at last year. And I marked it because I kind of wanted to commemorate it so when I go by it. The problem is, because it rained all day, by the time I got there, everything I did was washed away. So, but I knew where it was. I got down there, and honestly, I didn't even acknowledge it. I just went right past it. Got to the end, got through the mud again, and then came down. And then when I crossed the river the second time, crossed the bridge the second time, that's when my back started really seizing up. I was taking salt, I was doing everything right. It was seizing up. And I saw Earl, and he said stop and stretch. I knew I still had plenty of time though, so stretched, got down to about mile 20, so 6 miles left. And I had, I think, probably
5 hours still or something like that. No, I had 6 miles left. I had 3 hours. 3 hours still. Because I figured it out that even if I did 30-minute miles, which I could crawl and do 30-minute miles, that I was going to finish it. So I got to the point where I stopped every mile and I would stretch my back. And then I stopped at every aid station and stretched my back. And it worked. It was good. And then I was crossing the river coming back with 1.5 miles, 2 miles left, and I saw Earl, and I walked across the bridge with him. And well, before that I saw Rory, who has been huge. I can't even thank Rory Duckworth enough, my coach. I think I made a change and went with Rory this year, and I think that he is a huge part of why I was successful this year. His coaching all year has been unbelievable. He's just, honestly, he's probably one of the best people I've ever met in my life. Just a genuinely good guy. He likes to see people succeed, and it's obvious. So I saw him, and he was happy for me. We took a picture, started walking over, and then I came around that last stretch, about 1.25 miles, and I'm like, I'm totally going to do this. I'm going to do it. Stretching my back the whole way. And then I got to right before you turn the corner to come into the chute, and by then, honestly, I could barely stand up, but I knew I was going to finish. So I stretched my back as much as I could so I didn't look all hunched over like a zombie going through the chute. Came around the corner, ran down the chute, and honestly, I know they say it's an amazing experience, and it was, but I don't know that you realize it when you're there. It's tough. First of all, you can't see anything. The lights are in your face. I was so tired and disoriented, and I don't even really remember much of it. I know that Mike Riley said that I'm an Ironman, but I had to go back and look at the video to prove it until I actually knew it. So it's pretty awesome, though. And I signed up to go back with Smile Train next year, and I talked to Rory. Rory's going to help me get there. And my plan next year is to, A, beat my time, and B, be able to be aware of what's going on when I'm actually in the finish chute this time, and not look like a zombie all hunched over. So this is long. This is probably longer than if I had just written it. Holy cow, that's a long time. But I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I can't. There's a bunch of people that I can't thank enough. Smile Train, Sarah, everyone there. Earl was great. Obviously Rory. I mean, Rory Duckworth, like I said, huge. Darlene helped me a lot, my sister. And of course, Amy and Camille. I mean, honestly, I've never been to a race that they haven't gone with me to. I don't know that I could do these races without them. They put up with all my shenanigans and my moodiness and everything leading up to the race, and they don't really get the credit they deserve. And honestly, I'm really, really lucky to be able to have them. So that's my race report. And again, thank you to everybody that supported me and donated last year. And just a heads up, I'm doing it again this year. So be prepared for the Facebook requests and the emails and all the solicitations for donations, because they're coming again this year. I think they already started. I did one today. So, but the easiest way is just donate, and I'll meet my goal and go away. And then the best part of the trip, one last thing. Cosmo, come here. Was getting to come home and see this guy. This guy. Look, over here. Oh. Anyways, alright. That's it, guys. Thanks. Have a good one.